Hello guys, this is Matt back again hosting on Chelsea Perspective, and this is going to be a wonderful stream. The timing this week by me, absolute freak. I'm not predicting transfers, by the way. I've not gotten in the know going at the right times, but if we streamed at the right time, we would have missed the big start of the title, which we will get into. But big up everyone that has already joined us. 38 people live right now. Has got. I'm not going to say I'm an ITK, but good timing. That's all I'm saying. Good timing. But yes, we'll talk about the first bit in a minute. We got some injury news as well, which is not so good, and then we've got a big topic regarding some players that have been banned from training, as Matt Law has suggested. God of Frogs making a good point. Reece James injury, what's new? So let's get into it. So big up to Miss Melina for joining in bright and early, as I would say, closet Chelsea fan. She wants to support the blue side of London, really. And big up to Nightbot, as always, for joining us as well. Make sure you guys drop your comments and we will answer as many as possible. We won't be streaming for as long as we usually do because it is 12 a.m. I have just come off a long shift. So I am running on a little bit of an empty and I would like to go to bed at some sort of time as possible. But we will have people coming on, some normal people, regular panelists, and we will have someone that hasn't been on for a while, but I think has been on this channel before. So stay tuned. This might get tasty. Big up to DJ Sav in the comments. Big up to you. Big up to Courtney as well. Sell Reece James this way. We'll get into that in a little bit. But first, let's talk about the main point of this video. The big news, which is that Victor Osimhen has handed in a transfer request to Napoli. We don't know if it's official yet. It's a article that's come out from quite reliable sources. But we'll have to see if this is an unofficial transfer request or an official one, because they're slightly different. An official one, an unofficial one is kind of, I'd like to go, but it's not as forceful as I am officially putting in a transfer request. I do not want to play for this club anymore. And when the player says it openly himself or through his agent, that's when it's a big one. So we'll wait and see what it is. But this is a sign that Osimhen thinks he is ready to leave Napoli, and it shows that there is something going on. Whether it's from us, whether it's from Arsenal, who's been very smallly linked, whether PSG have come back in the race, or whether Saudi have put in an offer. They're all the clubs that have been interested throughout the window. But I do think Chelsea have had the most concrete interest in the last week, and would make sense now that the Neto deal was over, that Chelsea have one deal alone, one incoming deal to focus on, and that is Osimhen, as well as trying to get rid of Lukaku and a few others, which we will get into later on. So give me your thoughts on Osimhen handing a transfer request. Do you think this makes it more likely that he will join at this stage, or do you think the transfer is just still too complicated to get done, or just people think we don't need him? Because there has been genuine Chelsea fans that think we do not need Osimhen, which is a fair opinion. I can understand the reasons behind it. I'd still argue we need a bigger striker, and I can understand people think it's not a deal that's worth it. DJ Sab, Courtney, let's not go down this route of selling Reece James. This has all been blown out of proportion. It's a minor hamstring injury, and he will be back after suspension at the same time, not being rushed back. I get that, DJ Sab, but I think the problem is, and I've said this last season, this is the almost the make and break season. I mean, if Reece is continuously breaking down, and it's not so much him getting bigger, if he's constantly getting these little niggles and can't just stay fit consistently, it's a problem. And I definitely think it will be a point of Gusto will be first choice and Reece will have to play second fiddle, which is a problem with the way he's on. Otherwise, if it's really bad, then we're going to have to look at getting a replacement in, which is sad. But I think we are trying to give Reece as much time to get out of these injuries. And if he can't, then there's only so much we can do. We're not denying his ability, but unfortunately, availability is the best availability. But I'm hoping it's just a 4-week thing, and he can get back as soon as possible. But it is what it is. I can understand people getting very worried about it. But yeah, let's have a look at some other news that has come in. Carney Chukwuemeka is being linked to a Barcelona move. Apparently, there's been long-standing interest, and that the player could be sold. For me, I really do like Carney Chukwuemeka, and I do not want to see him be sold for a measly price. I would demand at least 35 to 40 million. Otherwise, Barcelona could shut up and go away. Because I think this is a player that, if he can stay fit, he's a very talented player, and I think could do really well this season if given the game time. So let us know what you think about Carney Chukwuemeka potentially going to Barcelona, and that could be another good sell on the books, potentially. Some other transfer news that has been going about. What was the one that I just read beforehand? There's something I read literally before that has been rumoured. That's it. Bashir Humphreys also looking to be sold. I think there's just too many centre backs ahead of him, and I do think there is too much people ahead of him. I think Leeds and Burnley are the two clubs interested. Top of the Championship, he did do well at Swansea on loan. So yeah, I think if we can get again a half decent fee, 5, 10, maybe 15 million for him, that will be again more pure profit in the books, which will be good. We need to make sales, and obviously this one could be one of them. So speaking of the Chukwuemeka, direct quote is: Carney Chukwuemeka is an interest to Barcelona who like his dynamic and versatile profile. Should they sign a midfielder in recent weeks? Contracts have been between the clubs as well as agents that are taking place to explore the operation. So it's not as ahead and like concrete, to be fair. So I don't know how quickly it is to happen. Also, Aston Villa are admirers of Chelsea defender Trevor Chalobah as they consider possible replacements for Diego Carlos. So Crystal Palace are interested, Aston Villa are interested. I do think there will be a bidding war potentially for Chalobah, and Chelsea could take advantage of this to see if they can get as much money for Trevor Chalobah as possible, which again will help with being able to sell people. Finally, this did come out after our stream the other day, so I will talk about it now. Raheem Sterling is among the options being considered by Juventus, who are currently eyeing a loan deal in the market amid interest in both Francesco Conceição from Porto and Jadon Sancho of Manchester United. This would be something I would do. There needs to be some option, at least, if not obligation to buy by Juventus, because I do not want to see Raheem Sterling just going out on loan and coming back next time. We do need to get rid of this guy, and especially now we have brought Neto in, I'm all for it. I'm all for him being sold. Get Sterling and his wages off the books, so we can really balance his books. And if we can get Sterling off the books, as well as Lukaku, and as a bonus Kepa, I definitely see Chelsea maybe pushing the boat a little bit more towards Osimhen, and willing to take a little bit of a bite with that. And the final news for today, the big news that everyone has been ranting and raving about, is Chalobah, Lukaku and others, I'm not going to go through the full list, Dacha, Fana, etc., have been banned from training, as quoted by Matt Law. This is so they are on the transfer list effectively. They will be sold this summer, and they are not able to use first team facilities or train with the first team. I do think this is a very volatile subject on Twitter, and I can understand people's opinions on that. This is harsh on some players, Lukaku not so much, but other players it's harsh, and that they're being disgracefully treated. I understand it, but I do think Matt Law is very much playing with the subject, and he always does this. He finds a subject that he knows will gain traction with Chelsea fans, and in a toxic way will use specific words such as banned and banished to get a reaction, get lots of clicks, and to put Chelsea fans in a frenzy. Remember, this guy is an Aston Villa fan. He's not a Chelsea fan. He does not have Chelsea interest at heart. So what do I think? First of all, just quick thoughts of this situation. I understand why people are frustrated, but when you look at training drills and training drill, you having too many people in the squad at one time means you can't do certain training drills, can't be done. They're not possible. So you do, and Enzo Maresca going into the new season needs to focus with the players that are going to be here. So what he has done is he's got his group of players that he knows are most likely going to stay. There probably are some people that might still go out on loan in that squad, depending on other transfers and other interest that goes on. But there are a certain list of players which we know: Chalobah, we know Lukaku, we know Kepa, and a few others, David Fofana. Some of these players for a while have known that they are leaving the football club and that they're going to be sold. It's been quite clear for a while. We know this. We've been debating it for ages. So the idea is that they are going to train with a separate group of under-21s players, so that both sets can be trained properly. As a result, because the under-21s do not use first-team facilities, these players will also not use the first-team facilities. This is not a banishment, such a thing as we need to split the groups up in order for everything for training to work efficiently, properly, and prepare for the new season. In Chelsea's eyes, hopefully these players won't be here for much longer, and that is not a problem. I understand, again, because of what language is being used is making the situation worse. I can understand that it's harsh on some of these players. But at the same time, I think, especially in Chalobah's case, I think the reason people are going on about the contract being signed, long-term contract, and it's just not being handled well. I agree. I think if they weren't seriously interested in Chalobah, I don't know why they signed a big long deal, apart from to keep his value up, which arguably it's not really kicked out that much. So is it worth it? I don't know. That's probably a mistake. That is a mistake from the ownership right there. But Chalobah has known for this is the third window now that Chelsea have said that Chalobah is not in his plans. He has not moved for one reason or another, even though there has been interest. So for me, I have less sympathy for him not being in training, because eventually the club are going to have to just take matters into their own hands. It is a business at the end of the day. And at the same time, if Chelsea were to accompany them in the training session and suffer with training and cause training routines to be stopped, then we would be moaning that we're not training the players properly. So it's a catch-22, and obviously Chelsea have just acted decisively to sort it out. It is what it is. Can't help it at all. But there's nothing more we can do. Let's have a look at the comments before we add some panelists in. Big up to Shanks, who has just joined. Big up to you, Melina. Matt will take over episodes. Technically, this is episode 4. Come on, Melina. You're behind here. You're behind. Come on. But anyway, big up to Melina. Matt, we are signing injury plague players. Bro, sorry. It's late for me. Injury plague players, bro. As much as I am happy about Neves and Neto deal, I am worried about his injury record. So all this thing of selling Reece, how long will Pep? Well, the difference is Reece has been here for a while, and if we give Neto the right amount of time, that's 4 or 5 years technically. But I understand your point with the injury record. However, I think there are lots of players that have injury problems. It's about just dealing with. Maybe Neto was just not dealt well at Wolves in terms of his injuries, and this manager Enzo might be able to deal better with the injuries in general. So he might not get as injury prone. It's all let's wait and see. I mean, look at Pulisic. Pulisic got injured every 5 minutes at Chelsea, goes to AC Milan and hasn't really picked up many injuries. Obviously, it is a different league, different level, different demand on the body, but again, it doesn't always transfer from club to club. So hopefully Neto won't get injured. Madueke was very injury prone at PSV. He's come to Chelsea, and actually, while he has picked up a few knocks, largely is kept fit. So it's a worry, of course, but I think there's a lot of good things about the player that I can put that as a smaller aspect of that. Shanks, you come in peace. Well, we'll see how long that piece lasts. With potentially our panelists, there may be clashes. But obviously, guys, keep it peaceful. We will keep it peaceful as well. Matt Ball Capital, big up Chelsea Sessions. And as we finish the comments, we are going to invite, what's he calling himself? The Emperor of Chelsea. And this is the arrogance that we're going to get from our wonderful co-host. I will call him a co-host because that is probably the appropriate name to give him, of the Blue Coat Project podcast, Mr. Carlito. Carlito, how you doing?
Just kidding. How are you? Hello, Matthew Ball.
You're not even the king of Chelsea media anymore. You're the emperor.
No, I'm the emperor. So I've graduated.
You graduated. You've given yourself self-promotion.
My man, you need to graduate to a razor. You are looking. You're looking like Christopher McCandless from Into the Wild. You ever see that movie?
No, I've not seen that movie.
Oh, Matthew, it's an American classic. It's actually one of the best.
I'm a Brit, so
no, but this is actually one of the best. Sean Penn directed. It's actually one of the best American movies of the 2000s. It's really good. So first off, how are you? You good? A little late there, huh?
I'm a little bit tired after a long shift, but
how did Coach con you into doing this?
I'm a little bit persuasion. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
A little bit of persuasion.
Yeah, there was nothing monetary related. You're just such a nice guy.
I am not going to go into private conversations.
Fraud ball. So look, I mean, the soup du jour is something that I actually insisted on talking about at Alex Goldberg's stream about 2 hours ago. And that is Reece James. I mean, Matt, buddy, we talk about this, well, not recently, incessantly, but boy, oh boy, over the last 2 years, it's been something that we've been hyper concerned about, always like almost afraid to check the aggregators because they always get the news first. I'm almost always like, oh, geez, is Reece James going to, I don't want to look. And lo and behold, Matt, we see this today. Yet again, after, some quiet time between essentially April and now, no real injury issues, not just with Reece, but with everybody. Nothing crazy, maybe a Jackson ankle or two. Then we get this Reece James hamstring thing. And what do you know? It hits us like a ton of bricks, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's the problem. Someone said to me, it's bad management because he's played 90 minutes effectively worth of time in 14 days. And I'm like, but hang on a minute. This is what you're supposed to do in pre-season. How is he supposed to build fitness without playing? Like, I don't think this management has been bad. I just think he keeps breaking down, and that's a problem. And that's a problem with him more than anything. I think as I said, we've given him a lot of time. And if this is just, if there are going to be, I can accept with James, if he's going to have just little niggles, and it is little, like week or two niggles, and he's going to be out every now and then, that's fine. But you've got to play second fiddle to Gusto. Gusto will be the main man, and you will play second fiddle, which may help with the injuries anyway. But if he's going to have long-term injuries after long-term injuries, then I'm sorry, we're going to have to look for someone else. No matter how good you are, availability is the best ability.
Well, I mean, Matt, you're someone that is a professional of the human body. you deal with these things every single day.
Yeah.
And, you remember guys like Marco Van Ginkel, right? I mean, this guy, basically at 21, his career was almost over. Marco Van Basten, before him, at 28, his ankles were so bad that he could have gone on to have an even better career than Ibrahimovic, but he had to hang up the boots at 28 because his body betrayed him. Van Ginkel, body betrayed him. In terms of basketball, Brandon Roy, body betrayed him. And I don't believe in jinxes or anything like that, but I think that it is time to at least consider that maybe Reece James's body is just simply betraying him. And I don't think that it helps that he comes into training camp at least 10 pounds overweight every single time, and this one's no exception. I watched him. I watch him more closely than other players because with him, quality is not the issue. It's always fitness. It's always, is he carrying a little extra Reece? And look, man, you've seen him. I've seen him. He doesn't look svelte. He doesn't look like he's prioritized fitness over the summer. He's looked like he's prioritized not getting injured, but he hasn't prioritized fitness. And I'm just going to call it like I see it, dude. He looked out of shape from the first preseason game, and he especially looked out of shape against Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And what does that do, Matt? What does that do? You're a student of kinesiology. What does that do when you're out of shape and your body's already carrying an extra load? I mean, what does that do to your joints?
It puts too much pressure on your joints. Your joints don't work as effectively as they can. More pressure on the muscles, and muscles will tear as a result. Simple as that. I do think there is genetically something in the James family, because Lauren, for Chelsea, obviously when she was at more Arsenal, Manchester United, had not hamstring, I don't think, but had multiple injury problems and was out for an extended period of time.
Right.
But she came into Chelsea, had a whole year where she worked on her fitness.
Yeah.
And now, bar the odd, I think it's normally once she gets to kind of like March, April, you see her like starting to get niggles towards the end. But that's fine. Like most players, towards the end of the season, their bodies are worn down that they will are more susceptible to niggles. But I think he needs to look at his sister, and Chelsea need to look at what they did with Lauren and go, can we do a similar? Can we take inspiration from this and do it to Reece?
So, I mean, I remember when Lauren...
That's something I'd look... I mean, maybe they have looked at that and it hasn't worked, but that would be something straight away I'm doing.
I remember specifically with Lauren at Man United, she wasn't in the best of shape. And then she comes to Chelsea and she gets into great shape. Right? I mean, the James family is always going to be muscular. I mean, it's not fat. It's not heavy. It's just muscular. But with her, once she was at Chelsea and she was established, she was always in shape. It's just with Reece, it's just not the same.
Yeah.
I mean, I could just always tell. And I got to be real with you, man. I mean, how many more times is Chelsea going to look at this guy and say, we're paying you $250,000 a week to at least show up in shape in August? And you can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
And maybe there is an aspect where obviously everyone's bodies are different, metabolism and stuff. Maybe there is something where he just does generally struggle keeping weight off, and it's not fat. It does.
No, he's just big. No, I'm not talking about fat. We're not talking about fat.
It's almost stocky, the right word to use, really.
Yeah,
but it just.
I mean, dude, he's more fit. He's more fit than anyone that's ever going to come on this street.
And that's whether he needs a specific nutritionist, a specific PT, strength and conditioning coach that just needs to stick with him the whole time.
Like, Matt, I'll give this one for an example. Like, when I was in college, like, I was 5'10", and during the off season, I was probably 165, which was 10 pounds too heavy for me. And that's fine, and I just carried it. But during the season, come August, I was 155. And it was just always the case, and I was always chiseled and ready to go. And it just seems like Reece is just not losing the 10 pounds that are necessary when you go into camp in August. And it just... Bro, I mean, he was laboring against Real Madrid and against Celtic. he looks slow, Matt. And I'm like, freak. I mean, my goodness, this may actually happen again. And yeah, I mean, lo and behold, it did.
Yeah. I mean, one of my mates, he joked to me, he said, Reece James needs to go on that vegan diet to lose them 10 pounds. I was like,
I mean, hey, you know what, dude? He's getting paid a lot of money to make, to maybe hire a chef to make food taste really good that normally doesn't.
yeah,
And you know what? It ain't that hard. Because,
it's not
brother,
hard.
I've dated a vegan, and some of that food is tasty. Mm-hmm. And you're still eating like tofu and bean sprouts, and it's like, dang, this almost burrito tastes almost like a burrito. But I mean, at the same time, you're looking at who's performed well this preseason. Romeo Lavia absolutely stands out, but the other one that does is Malagusto, Matt. And you have to say, dang, maybe Malagusto should just be taking over this position, even if he's making considerably less, even if he's not the captain, even if he doesn't have the prestige, he may just be the better player. You never know.
I mean, that's the thing. He's available, so that automatically makes him the better player, and his ability is just
off the charts.
It's as close to Reece as I've seen most players. I mean, arguably, on form and fitness, we have the two best right backs in the league in the same team. So that's the problem. Reece needs to look at this and go, he hasn't got some crap right back behind him or some very old.
This isn't Aspie.
So yeah, I mean, he needs to figure it out himself, and club needs to help him. I guess they have helped him. If the club haven't helped him, then shame on the club. But also, I can't imagine they haven't. So he needs to use that help. Shank's going, vegan food isn't that good. It's all up to taste.
No. You throw in a little chili oil. I mean, everything is better with like a tiny bit of onion powder. I'm telling you, it'll make Brussels sprouts taste like Brussels sprouts that taste good. I promise you. I
like a Brussels sprout.
I like a good Brussels sprout. Especially if it's
I don't have any complaint
in
about
the
Brussels
pan.
sprouts.
No. I mess with Brussels sprouts. See me? Look, I'm like colloquially, replacing swear words with euphemisms. I mess with Brussels sprouts. Yeah. But
I mean, just cook them properly. That's all I care about.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you this other thing because Melina brings this up. Can you see Osimhen being a deadline signing Chelsea? So Chelsea's always going to be more chaotic than other teams. This is something that we've gotten used to. And, you see, I mean, I've been watching more TalkSport now than I ever have, and much less ESPN FC because I actually like TalkSport more. You and me, partial to Simon Jordan, he's the man. But it seems like these guys are all surprised about the chaotic nature of Chelsea, whereas we're like, yeah, this is how it always is. Chelsea is always more brazen in the window. Chelsea is always more brave. Chelsea always strays beyond the path, and right now we're probably more beyond the path than we ever have before with the way that we're buying, with the way that we're selling, with the way that we're building a team. And I don't know if we're this brazen where we would go and buy Osimhen because we just bought Amora Dion. We just bought Mark Guiu, who looks great. And we got Jackson, who you and I are very high on. And I'm asking you, what is the deal with this Osimhen thing? And is this even beyond the pale for Chelsea, who lives in chaos?
I can. At first, they wasn't really buying it too much. I thought it was just people talking slow window. People just want to make stuff up, but it's just not going away. And I know that Lukaku is almost also tied to this deal. Reports that he's actually already effectively agreed with it of Napoli what he wants. Yeah. They are waiting for Osimhen to be gone because they can't obviously have both on the books at the same time. I see Chelsea going for this chaos, and obviously it helps the idea of Chelsea signing big top players and fans will shut up for a bit. Obviously, it's not the reason to buy a player, but I don't think that's the only reason. I think Osimhen is also just a good player. You got Zemeco behind you.
I just let it go.
Right. Anyway, I do think it's going to happen. I just think it's Osimhen. I don't think the transfer fee is going to be a problem. I think Chelsea will sort out and do their usual Chelsea stuff to make that okay. And I think PSR wise, we are quite good, especially if you've got Chukwuemeka potentially sold. Bashir Humphries looks like he's going to be sold. About 1 billion clubs look like they're coming in for Chalobah, so we could get a bidding war and increase that value a little bit.
GDF, Broya.
Yeah, Boya. Obviously, Lukaku will go out as well. Sterling could go out, and then wages could be gone as well. Like everything is going into place that I could see them just going for one big luxury diamond up top. But I think Osimhen does need to compromise on his wages. Because
let me ask you as an aside. This Twitter views and YouTube views, are we aggregating these and saying that we got like 90 people watching right now?
I don't know how it actually works.
I don't know either, but hey, what's up, fellas? So Osimhen, talk to me about his wages because now he's on 249. He's on 249.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that even Saudi are hesitant to pay his wages. If Saudi can't pay you wages, brother, no one's going to pay you wages. PSG don't want to pay your wages. So you've got to make a decision. Do you want to stay at Napoli for the rest of your career or the rest of your contract, or do you want to go and sign for a big club or go make loads of money out in Saudi?
But Matt, the fact
I think he needs to compromise. And I think personally, with the fact that transfer requests are starting to come in a little bit, I wonder whether he's now ready to compromise a little bit. And it might be a thing of lowering the wage, but performative bonuses go up. So if Chelsea are smashing it and winning the league, he gets more money in the end, which I don't mind. If we're winning the league, I don't care how much you're paying a player really. If he's performing brilliantly, smashing it, and winning Ballon d'Ors or whatever, I don't care how much you are him, because you're the best player in the world and you're the best player of the club. But
so you got to look at this twofold. Number one, they have given up leverage by number one, the player, and number two, the club being so open with the fact that he's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that just seems like malpractice almost. That you are like, yeah, he's leaving, and yet nobody's trying to buy him. Second thing is this. He's only on a 2-year deal. And to me, that screams negotiable. Because if you were to say, all right, Victor, this is what we can do. We can loan you for this year, obligation to buy next year. And we tear up your contract and we give you a 5-year, 6-year new deal. All right? Preferable terms. Everybody's happy. We can certainly do that. Because right now he's on an odd contract. And he's in a precarious situation where the club, the literal president of Napoli today is like, yeah, Victor's leaving. He wants to go. We promised him he could go. He wants to go. And yet there's no suitors. And I'm looking at that. I'm like, wow, that is such bad business. And yet at the same time, you got to respect them for being frank about it. They're going to hold to their word of, hey, Victor, we're going to do our best. But at the same time, the more they talk, the less likely it is. So if we offered him a new contract, that could absolutely nullify some of his concerns. Whether we do or we don't, my question to you is this Italy driven or is this Chelsea driven? Because right now I'm seeing a lot of talk from Italy and I don't see actually a lot of talk from Chelsea. Maybe journalists that cover Chelsea, but not Chelsea itself. And you can tell when something comes out from Chelsea, they actually want a player. Whereas with this, it's like Napoli made a mistake and they also want Lukaku. So they want Chelsea to do them a favor to paper over their mistake and also give them their player that they want. And I don't know if Chelsea is obligated to do them any favors.
Yeah, I mean, I do think some of the quietness around Chelsea could be a little bit brief because Chelsea want to keep their cards close to their chest and they don't want people like Matt Law, Simon Johnson or whoever spewing the beans out too much. I do think Chelsea work best when they work in quiet behind closed doors, and I think that's
Pedro Neto.
And that's why Napoli. I think Napoli are more desperate to be talking about things and putting out stuff that, like the whole Di Marzio thing, where they said it was done, it's not happening. I think that was just a desperate kind of Napoli throwing out kind of it's not happening, guys. Someone else come in and get him, blah, blah, blah. Try and entice PSG or whoever back in. But I just don't think it's working. I think Chelsea are interested. I think there may be a slight interest from Arsenal, but I just think Arsenal are not going to be able to do the finances. Even Arsenal now do not do that sort of deal, personally. I
think Melina is smoking a little bit of hopium. I think that she wants Arsenal to be on in it, but I haven't seen any indication that Arsenal is going to do this deal. In fact, Arsenal is still sweating this one center mid that was like 20 million.
Yeah, I mean, I think Arsenal can't do it. I think they will settle for someone like Tony eventually.
Tony's not bad, but he's just not young.
Yeah, I mean, I would still get Tony. Obviously, I know we're not going to do it because, as you said, he's not young, so he's not under 25. He's too old for the Chelsea project. But I do think I do think someone. See, I don't know now because I think the problem is Dominic Solanke has just destroyed the market again by going for 65 bloody million.
Unbelievable.
Pounds. Like, people were saying, "Oh, we should go in for Dominic Solanke." Are you kidding me? Like, this guy has had one good season last season and got a good amount of goals, but he hasn't done anything in his as much in his previous seasons. He's not worth 65 million. Nowhere near. I mean, even Gurhey's now being linked to a 70 million pound move to Newcastle. People were like, "Oh, we should have got him back." It's like, I'm not as good as Gurhey is. I'm not paying 70 million for him. Like, these are crazy fees, and just as I thought everyone in the market was realizing that everyone's paying inflated fees and we need to calm it down a little bit, slow it down, they've gone crazy again. But typical clubs being stupid.
Well, I want to ask you this question because this is a little bit of a delicate one. And hold on one sec. So I saw Matt Law this morning discuss the nature of Trevor Chalobah's brief future at Chelsea, as well as other players like Dacha Fofana, Broya, Lukaku, and others. And Matt Law tweeted that Trevor Chalobah has been banished from all first-team facilities. Well, Cobham is a first-team facility, so that right there is hyperbole. He wasn't banished from Cobham. He wrote that to piss people off.
Yeah,
he wrote that to get a reaction.
I said at the beginning. This guy is an Aston Villa fan, and who conveniently are linked with Chalobah. By the way, it's no surprise. Aston Villa are linked to Chalobah, and Matt Law puts us at the same time because he wants to cause problems. And he loves stirring shit with Chelsea. Sorry to do the profanity I said not to do, but he loves stirring.
He swore!
He loves stirring the pot. The pot. And he knows he can do it because this is a perfect situation and Chelsea fans bite the bullet every time.
No, it's not just that. He's allowed to go on one particular Chelsea publication and he has carte blanche to say what he wants.
Yeah, and shame to them people for keep doing it.
Yeah, Nick, Brandon, Dan, I know who you guys are. And you allow Matt Law to go on there and say, "Oh, yeah, Chelsea's completely mistreating their homegrown players that have been there since they were middle schoolers." I mean, this is what he wanted. He wanted to elicit an emotional response. Well, he got it, but he did it in a disingenuous and lazy way because any player that's about to be sold goes and trains with the second team. That's normal football stuff. That's not exclusive to Chelsea. Chelsea's not particularly mean to people that are being sold. This is just normal standard operating procedure. This is what you do.
It's like when we had Ben Jacobs on the pod on channels before. Ben speaks very eloquently about these situations and he uses the right words. He doesn't choose words to hyperinflate his stories because he doesn't need to. But if for some reason he was to come on and say all this sort of stuff, me and you know, we knew have got the intention that we're not going to allow that to happen. We're not going to allow our club to be used like that. And we would privately just be like, no, we can't do this. We can't allow a journalist who potentially, like Ben, obviously doesn't support Chelsea either, but doesn't, unlike Matt Law, doesn't let that suffer problems. But if Ben did, we wouldn't allow that. We wouldn't allow that. But unfortunately, other Chelsea fans just allow their club to be put in the mud for money and be ruined. And unfortunately, Matt Law has so much previous for this, to the fact that he's caused players to be racially abused for things that he said that turned out to be absolute rubbish. So he has credibility of certain points in terms of actual factual news, but as soon as it goes to opinions, and even these factual stuff now, he's using words to he's writing like he's working for the bloody Sun, a tabloid. Yes. He's writing like a tabloid journalist, and I know he's got the information. He's got good sources at Chelsea. He doesn't need to do that, but apparently he does now.
His story was this: 5 players that are looking for sales are training with the U21 team. What he went with was Trevor Chalobah is banished from all first-team facilities. That's what he used. He didn't talk about the other players. No. He wanted to needle and finger that real wound that people have with Trevor Chalobah leaving. And it just seemed to me like it wasn't just disingenuous, but I mean, also unprofessional. I mean, I don't know what he was trying to get at, although I do know what he was trying to get at, and I know what his end game was. But man, everybody took the bait regardless, huh? They really did, because I caught a couple Chelsea fans. I was like, man, you guys are overreacting, huh? And they would privately tell me, yes, we're going to overreact on situations until the ownership group earns our trust. And we will make mountains out of molehills until ownership group earns our trust. So a lot of these people are actually intentionally exacerbating their reactions. And I'm not just talking about lay people. I'm talking about big accounts. They are intentionally making things seem worse than they really are.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, there are people that have just got too many agendas out there, and there are people that are making money off this club and making money off views, and unfortunately, their opinions are, you can't justify them as much. Like me at the moment, I am not making money off this club. I have my own career. I don't need to do this. This is just me doing this as a hobby because I enjoy doing this. So there is no. Of course, I have little agendas. For example, Ruben Loftus-Cheek is the best player on the planet.
Oh!
But I'm not gonna. Even then, I will not. I did not. When he left our club, I did not let that love of a certain player turn my judgment of this club, because that's what a true and unbiased fan does. But unfortunately, there's too many biased fans, which I have sympathy because they're sheep to a bigger set of group of people that are nurturing this toxicity in the fan base. It's like, for us, we have our opinions. You guys in the comments can absolutely disagree. As long as you're not being abusive about it, you absolutely have the right to disagree with us. We're not looking to shape your opinion. We're just looking to say our thoughts. You can agree, disagree, whatever. It's up for a debate. We're happy to have a debate. But we're not going to purposely shape you all to have the same view as us. You must have the same view as us. We're just giving you some knowledge to form your own opinion. But unfortunately, I'm not going to name names because I'm going to get in trouble. And I do not want to do that.
You would name names on my podcast.
Yes, but I'm not going to do it on a channel that's not mine. Coachella has worked hard on this great channel.
We're not going to soil his great name and his great hair.
But by the way, is now at 22K people. So thank you for subscribing, getting to that milestone. Big up to Coach Chiller. But yeah, we're not going to derail any of that by calling out certain people.
Matt, it reminds you ever seen The Godfather 2?
Yes.
Yeah. So in The Godfather 2, Al Pacino's character, Michael Corleone, he goes and he meets with Hyman Roth. Now, Hyman Roth is salty because Michael Corleone had put on the hit of Mo Green. And who is Mo Green? He invented Las Vegas, right? And that's where this major scene comes in. He goes, when I heard the hit, I wasn't mad. I wasn't angry. In fact, I let it go because it had nothing to do with business. This is the business we've chosen. And realistically, this is the business that we've chosen, right? I am not here to skew your opinion, and I promise you, there's no one on earth that will ever skew my opinion. That's why I don't have debates. I just have observations, and I make comments. I don't really debate because you're never going to change my mind. But at the same time, we also understand that we let things go. You and I, we understand what's going on. We're not going to be hyperbolic about something. We're certainly not going to fabricate anything. We're going to understand what's going on. And then eventually we're just going to let it go. Trevor Chalobah is one. Armando Broya is another. Okay. This is what's happening. They're training with the first team. Oh, now they're relegated to the second team because they're looking to be sold. Okay. Well, that's the nature of the business. That's the business they chose. This is the business we chose. And that's it.
Let's remember with Trevor Chalobah, this is the third window in a row where Chelsea have
third window. He knows. He knows, Matthew. He knows.
Yeah. And he's had offers. I'm not saying it's his fault, but Chelsea do have to take it in their own hands. And as I mentioned before, there are, and you'll know this as being a coach, there are certain training drills where you need a certain amount of people, and having too many people means them drills are not be able to be done efficiently. You need extra coaches, you need extra drills, extra setups, and it's not going to work. So this is why you need a set group of people.
It's not just that. You're going to have people standing around watching.
Yeah. So
which is not healthy for anybody.
This is what, and this is where I say, if we were to put all these people in one group and not train effectively, the same Chelsea fans would be moaning that we're not training effectively. Especially in a year where we can't afford to do that because we're learning a new system, which is very important. The training in between games has never been more important to Chelsea's players as it is now.
Yeah, this is not about like staying sharp. Between games, we're still learning. We're not sharpening tools of a system that we already know. No, we're learning on the fly.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I understand that some fans will not know these sort of things because they're not coaches and not whatever. But this is where people are not giving, and especially football people who know this, are not given this opinion to be disingenuous or naivety at best. I mean, the fact that it takes us, two people that are not you are the emperor of Chelsea media, so I'll give you that. But we don't broadcast ourselves to the worldwide fan base, millions of people watching us. So we can only speak so far. But there are so many people that are disingenuous, and people on ESPN, TalkSport, who could easily make these points, but don't, and choose not to, which is a shame.
Well, I mean, number one, I think it's because they're lazy, and they receive talking points from producers before the show goes on. They're like, "Oh, we're talking about Chelsea today." Okay, give me the easy talking points. You and I really pay attention to this club. Now, we're not journalists. We don't work for the club. I've been accused in the last maybe 72 hours, more than I ever have, of being a shill for Blueco. Well, if you've ever listened to the podcast, you will understand that me, Matt, and Jared are unhireable for Chelsea for what we say. So we do not work for Blueco. And we're not journalists. But we are fair with the things that we say. And I just feel as though when you say things like Trevor Chalobah has been banished from first team training, it's just disingenuous, Matt. And I mean, Matt Law got what he wanted, but I wonder how many more times he's going to be able to get away with this.
I mean, do you know what the most disingenuous thing I've heard? I got accused of being American. I'm not having that. I'm sorry, I'm not having that. I am British born and bred. I have not. No offense to you, Carlito, but I'm not a Yank. I'm not a Yank, and I never will be. Do not make me a Yank. I am a Brit, and I'm proud.
Oh no! He's very British.
London,
I can
baby.
smell him through the screen. He smells like London fog and cynicism.
I'm not being cynical at the moment.
No, that's just your natural state. You people love to like stew in it. It's where you're at your greatest stasis.
Apparently, Shanks can't ask questions because you'll shoot him for asking questions.
No, Shanks, ask questions. I don't know who Shanks is. Ask questions.
So, quick fire. What's your third front three at the moment, including Neto?
Mine. Jackson, Palmer, Neto, and then Nkunku in behind.
Mm-hmm. First, yeah. I mean, I'd probably say the same. Obviously, if let's hypothetically say Osimhen signs, does that change?
Yeah, change.
I know it will, but I'm just hypothetically saying that.
I mean, because you gotta. Oh my goodness. Well,
I'm throwing that curveball in for you.
Nkunku and Palmer are going to play regardless. They're probably our two best players, along with, honestly, Malo Augusto. I love Jackson on the left, and maybe I just go Jackson on the left, Osimhen up top, Nkunku and Palmer in the midfield, and then on the right, Pedro Neto.
Fair enough.
Yeah. See, I dodged your little bullet there. Your little poison pill. I got you.
I think he's just purposely trying to trigger you now.
Oh, is this a hold on. It was Gallagher until who was prescription?
Shanks is funny, to be fair. Shanks Now he actually does good jokes, like unlike Jester's dad jokes that are just terrible. By the way, he's not allowed to do one tomorrow. So
none. He overstayed his welcome.
For the context of people who do not watch the Blue Code Project podcast, please do. Spotify, Apple Podcast episode coming out tomorrow. Basically, our panelist Jesters, he makes the most awful bad dad jokes. They are awful. They're the daddest of dad jokes. And he's only allowed to make 2 per episode. And he's already made his 2 on Twitter. So basically, he's not allowed to do one tomorrow.
Yeah, he says things like his best friend growing up was named Benjamin Dover. I mean, he'll say shit like that. Get it? Ben Dover.
Meanwhile, I think we've got some salty United fans coming in and saying crap.
Oh!
They lost the dinner plate trophy, didn't they?
So did you see some of the players that City was trotting out there?
Oscar Bob, your favourite player in the whole wide world at the moment.
Oscar Bob! Best name in the world.
Good hair.
I like walk around my house, and every once in a while I'll inadvertently just scream Oscar Bob just because I love the name. It's so good. He is awesome.
I can just imagine random US citizens walking past your house and just randomly hearing Oscar Bob.
It's people in my house. It's people outside of my house. They're like, what's wrong with this guy? And I'm like, let me tell you something. Oscar Bob! they cannot contain my joy for saying those 2 first names and combining them into a full name. He is great. But I got to be real with you, brother. Looking at guys like Savinho, even KDB.
KDB coming on for like 2 minutes and then scoring a penalty. As easy as that.
I actually don't think that they're going to be as good this year. I think that they've taken a step back.
It's natural. I mean, the last couple of
they
years,
lost a big player.
The last couple of years, they keep losing players. And
no, but this one I think, is bigger than the others.
But that's you can only do that so much before, especially because they've replaced them somewhat, but not really. Like they've not, but since Haaland, they haven't really made a huge signing.
No, yeah, like Mateus Nunes barely plays. Savinho is going to come in. He's not going to play much. Doku is good. Doku is good.
Yeah, but again, he's not that wow signing. It's not a wow City signing. He's still a bit.
Doku gives up on plays. If Doku can't smoke a guy down the line, he just cuts it back and then just passes it back. Like, he'll give up on a play.
He's still quite like he's almost. I'm not saying he's Jackson, but he's raw for a Man City. He's not a man and ready player, made ready player. Pep is having to work with him to make him better. So and even that's Savina rotation type player, that there is not really a big player that's coming in to replace these players. So it's natural it's natural when you're 4 in a row. Especially when you're in a quadruple or whatever they won, the passion to win it over and over and over again does eventually start waning a little bit. The rumours that it's Pep's potentially last season as well might also play a part. And people keep but the English media is currently saying, "Oh, Pep in a year is going to give up Man City and go and do England," which I would love, but it's not going to happen.
Ooh, that's a quick turnaround. I mean, it's hilarious. I'm saying that because our manager is literally doing it right now. But if you did that with the national team, you're talking about a couple practices, every 6 or 8 weeks, right? So that's a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a major surgery in an inadequate amount of time.
Yeah. I mean, he'd have a year to the World Cup, but obviously, yeah, you said he would have 5 or 6 at most international breaks.
Yeah, and that just I don't know if he would be interested in that.
No.
But
obviously, I think they're waiting for someone because they've obviously put an interim in just in case. Clearly, no one wants it right now. But that we're not going to talk about England. We can talk about Emma Hayes technically because that is Chelsea related.
Ooh.
Winning
By the way, did you hear what she said? Did you hear what she said? She interviewed with Mike Tirico right after winning the gold medal for America. She goes, Mike Tirico's like what drives you? What made you want to do this? She goes, I love America. And she's crying while she's saying this. She's like, I love America. America has made me. She's like, I love America. I wanted to do this for this country. And she's just like totally bought the Kool-Aid.
How can you not love this woman?
Oh, she's the best.
She is fantastic. Honestly, I have, in terms of managers all time that I've witnessed at Chelsea.
Yeah,
she's straight up with Mourinho.
She's top 3.
I can't think of anyone else. But even
Ancelotti, obviously.
Yeah, and Ancelotti gets in there, but I think just she's got that's something special about her.
No. She is insanely honest. She's insanely honest.
Yeah, she's not in the same way as Mourinho, but she's got that ilk, that aura around her.
I remember watching this.
Everyone talks about Poch's aura, but this is a proper aura.
That's manufactured aura. You got to earn that. No. I remember this one. They had this video of her talking to her team. Her team wasn't doing well. This was Chelsea. I think this may have been last year. She was cursing. And she's like, this is bleeping Chelsea. If you don't perform, I promise you, I will replace you.
And
And
she
she's
did
talking
that.
to she said this to professionals that were under contract. She looked at all of them and she said, "This is the highest standard. I promise you to your face, I will replace you if you do not please me." Straight up. She said that. No one blinked. They were like, "Oh my God. Oh my God." And it was like you could hear a pin drop and no one would dare interrupt her because that's real aura. Because she probably came into the American team and she's like, "Okay, Alex Morgan, you're gone. Rapinoe, you're gone. Anybody over the age of 30, you're gone. Anybody that's uncoachable, you're gone. I only want young players and players that are willing to listen. Anybody else, you're gone." And that's exactly what she did. And in, I don't know, 70 days, she created a team that went undefeated, 2 goals against, and won an Olympic medal. And they're going to go on. They're probably going to win the World Cup, probably 3 times under Emma Hayes. And that is because she is truly a cult of personality. She's like Mao. She's like Ronald Reagan, bro. The way that she operates, the people that work with her and for her, it's so unique because they're almost hypnotized. No one messes with this chick. She just commands immediate respect. But here's the thing. She celebrates like a player. She reacts like a player. She shows emotions like a player. And like a real human being.
I still remember when she was on an interview after winning the league, and she literally just dropped the mic, did the mic drop there and then, after just having like a passionate rant about everyone.
She has no qualms of decorum. She
was on Sky Sports and exactly was just having a go at Sky Sports for making Chelsea the underdogs, and then just did the mic drop and went out. And I'm just like, that is just brilliant. Like it's not even like some people have to like manufacture that and do that, and it looks fake. For her, it's in there. And
the Americans might be like surprised by this.
I don't like to use this term, but this is correct in terms of Emma. Emma is proper Chelsea. She's technically she's a proper Yank, if you want to call it that.
Oh yeah, she's American, baby. Born and bred.
I think it will be interesting in the World Cup to see USA England.
There is going to be absolutely nobody that tells her who to pick her team. No. It's going to be her and her alone. And she's going to sit in the room. She's going to have a list of 50 names, and she's going to pick whoever she wants. Because when you win the Olympics after being a manager for 2.5 months, you get carte blanche. In America, we work on meritocracy. Yeah. You are allowed to be this brazen if you win. In fact, we encourage it.
Exactly.
None of this proper hoity-toity, be respectful. No, not in my country, man. Not in my country. You can do whatever you want.
It's just a shame the men don't work in the same way. You kept Greg with the 3 Gs for too long.
Look, by the way, guess who's gonna replace him?
Who is it? I haven't actually looked at it. Is it Poch?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that aura of Poch.
Oh!
But your men's team, I know you're going to come and say, "Oh, but we can even beat them." It does suck a little bit.
Nah, well, I'm not, dude. I can't like manufacture and I like the women's team more than the men's. I can't manufacture enthusiasm about the men's team. I don't really watch them that much.
And that's the thing that they are much better than they should be.
Yeah, they're all right. They're all right. It's just there's no passion to play for America. I think it's more along the lines of for me, I don't really like international football. I mean, I just love club football.
Mm-hmm.
Because to me it's harder. There's more money. There's higher stakes. With international football, it's often not very good football unless you're Spain. Like I watched the Euros.
I mean, even Spain. Spain.
Hold on.
It was okay, but it wasn't.
No. They were better than everybody else.
Yeah, but that wasn't hard.
It wasn't like vintage Spain. I remember watching 2010 Spain. 2010 Spain was perfect football.
I mean, you had France and Portugal doing a competition of who could bore the audience the most.
Yeah. I mean,
you had England stinking it out in most games. Germany were the only other team that you looked at and went were semi entertainable, but even they were not really that and even Spain, if you compare it to obviously it's hard to compare it to Spain. They weren't really that tiki taka. They were a lot more structured and nowhere near the Spain of old in terms of entertainment. They were just effective and much more effective than other people. And obviously they're ahead of the curve of what they want to be, and they've still won it. So, congrats to them. But
they didn't have the most talent. They just played the best football.
Yeah,
and to be fair, there were 3 players in particular that were simply unbelievable for Spain. It was Dani Olmo, it was Nico Williams, and it was Marc Cucurella. Those guys, and then obviously Rodri, although he didn't really play in the final, but he will probably win the Ballon d'Or because I think Rodri is the best player in the world. Spain deserved that victory over England. And that ball that Marc Cucurella... Sorry, what?
They did 100%.
But that ball that Marc Cucurella played was one of the best balls I've seen in a very long time. It was just incredible.
Yeah. It was
so, I love that he's coming back to Chelsea with a full steam, a heavy bit of marbles, if you know what I'm saying. Just feeling himself a little bit because we absolutely need it. And that's what I wanted to talk about because we've got this unique back line that we're trying to manipulate in a way that up until maybe the last 6 weeks of the season, we've never played before. And that is 3 in the back, one guy becoming a D mid for when we have the ball. Obviously, when we don't have the ball, it shifts to a traditional back 4. But when we do have the ball, Maresca wants us to have 4 center mids. And so I'm thinking about tomorrow and Man City. Obviously, now that the decision has been made for us, Reece James, who probably wouldn't have played tomorrow anyway.
Yeah, I didn't expect. I expected Gusto to play.
And by the way, he's expected to be back by September 14th. He's suspended until September 14th. So either way, it really just doesn't matter because he was never going to play because he's actually at times very hasty and an emotional fool. That's on him, and he's earned that moniker despite being captain. So back line, I think that Philip, we're going to go with Philip. But back line, what do you have, Matt? Because I'm curious. I have a couple ideas, but it all depends on what we're going to do with whichever outside back we choose.
I mean, I do think it will be Cucurella, Gusto. In terms of the centre backs, this is where I keep changing my mind. I don't think Fofana's ready to step in right now.
Do you think he will be, though?
I think he will be. I think he'll play Conference League Cup matches, build up his fitness, and eventually overtake Tosin, who is going to be my starter in that right centre back at the moment. Mm-hmm. Left centre back. I want to just edge Badiashile, but I can understand why people would say Cole as well because neither of them are showing enough to command that spot over the other at the moment. So they've
had brutal preseasons, Matt.
I'm gonna pick Badiashile and not stay on the fence, but I can understand the other point of view. I can look over the fence and go, yeah, that's not too horrible. Well, they're both horrible, but I don't know. I don't want to just stick to Sassy on his weak foot personally.
Okay, midfield 3.
Lavia, Caicedo. Are we assuming Neto is going to be ready
for next weekend?
For yeah,
I would. Yeah, I mean, it's not like he hasn't been training.
Okay. Lavia, Caicedo, and Cuckoo.
Yeah. Me too.
I mean, I was tempted to go a bit more defensive and maybe put a Dewsbury Hall and Enzo, but I'm not going to be a bait him out at this point. So Nkuku
Did you just use the words Enzo and defensive in the same sentence?
Well, no, but I mean, Enzo is not as he is still a central midfield. He's not as attacking.
Yeah, because he's not fast enough to either be attacking or defensive.
No, but I mean, it's not an attack. It's an attacking midfielder and a centre midfielder. It is still slightly more defensive in retrospect.
Yeah, see, I'm going with. I mean, obviously, Caicedo is great. Lavia has been a standout. But yeah, I'm going with Nkunku too. And then up top, I'm going with Neto, Paul Calmer, and Jackson. Absolutely,
yeah, I would agree with that. If for some reason Neto is not ready, then I would simply move Nkuku to the left and one of Enzo or Dewsbury Hall in midfield. I'm tempted to do Dewsbury Hall, but I think Enzo would be picked. But yeah,
it's a good lineup. My only apprehension is that these guys don't have their patterns down.
But I don't think any lineup is really going to help with their patterns. Really, I think we can make this more secure, but that doesn't even. I mean, I think Enzo does need to, at least for the Man City game, dumb it down a little bit. The other games, fine, because it's a bit different. But Man City know this off the back. Like they know this. They could do this in their sleep. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to show your mistakes at this point. I think dumb it down for this one match, and then go from there. Get a point. Even snatch a win, and then we can go from there.
Did you see Molina, who's a pot stirrer? I'm not going to say the S word. A pot stirrer. Madueke out the door.
not this summer. I do think.
No way.
Him and Mudryk.
Can't afford the alternative. That would be too far.
I do think him and Mudryk are on their. This is their last season audition because you've got Estavo coming in. You've got Paez coming in next season. They will probably play either an attacking mid or out wide. So if these come in and they do stick in the first team like Chelsea have said they will, then these are the two people that I see could move out if they're not good enough. I think Mudryk will probably get moved on if he's not good enough. Madueke might sneak it in. But again, I think with Madueke, because we got him fairly cheap, we still might sell him to cover PSR potentially because it's a player that you can flip quite easily.
By the way, I just got a notification from ESPN. Chelsea puts trio of players to the U23. Sorry, the U21 team is the exit from the club, the Telegraph, which is the same Telegraph that Matt Law wrote. It's the same article, reframed considerably differently. Not Trevor Chalobah's banished from Cobham because he's got shitty hair or whatever, right? I mean, like, I hate the phrasing that Matt Law has used throughout the past 20 hours. And it just seems like the Telegraph is now saying, yeah, as their exit from the club looms. Okay, got it. I understand why they're playing with the U21s, right? But they're not banished. Because banished, that is such a harsh word. And not just a harsh word, like it indicates disrespect.
It is so bad. It is such a bad word to use.
But I mean, banished. I mean, it just seems like it's like the Middle Ages, and it's like you've been banished from this town, like never to return. I mean, what? It's almost an antiquated word that has no place in football. And it's not like, oh, look at me, Carlito, being like offended. No, I'm like, it's just It's just the wrong word. But it was used in the right way that he wanted. And that upsets me.
Yeah,
Because some people won't understand what he's really doing, and they'll actually believe it.
Yeah, probably people keep falling for it, and then it's not going to change, unfortunately. Big up to the 240 people now in the chat. 242 keeps going up. Keep smashing the like button. Get as many likes as possible because it helps bring more people to the channel, and more people can say either their good, bad, or ugly opinions. Blue Lion King, big up to you. Napoli wanted Kepa, Caste, and Lukaku swapped. I don't think they're all going to be a swap. I think they will be separate deals. But if we can get rid of all three of them to Napoli and get Osimhen, that would be good business. I mean, Caste, I don't mind whether it's a loan or sell. Depends on the fee again.
I think he's going to have a good career regardless.
But Kepa, bag of crisps would do, to be honest.
Yeah.
Maybe some nice Italian breadsticks.
I mean,
but
maybe even a high five from his ex-girlfriend. You know.
God. So Melina has actually put something in. In case of a good proposal, the situation of Noni Madueke could become open. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I said. If someone puts in stupid money for Madueke, Chelsea are probably going to accept it. But arguably, this is what I always say: unless it's a select few, i.e., Cole Palmer and Cuckoo, probably Gusto. Yeah, every player has their price.
Yeah, I think Lavia would be thrown into the Gusto, Cole Palmer, and Kunku.
Even then, like if someone went and threw Say someone decided to throw 80 million at Chelsea for Lavia.
No, because here's the reason why. Because he was raised under the tutelage of Rodri, who is now the best player in the world. And I've watched Lavia. I have watched him play this summer very closely. And he's doing Rodri stuff, man. And it just shows how important having an old school guy that sits right in front of the center backs and just dictates everything. No, man. Something like that, you have to hold on to. There's no way, because I don't even want to be hyperbolic about this. I see something great in what Lavia is building. I think he's building a repertoire of evasive moves, one-touch passes, framing, curling touches away from pressure. He is building this repertoire where he can constantly be having the ball the way that Jorginho used to do. But Lavia is also big, fast, and strong, whereas Jorginho was none of those things. Mm-hmm. I think that this is an imperative player to Chelsea moving forward.
So in regard to the Madueke news, it is Newcastle that have apparently been interested for the last couple.
That is not surprising at all.
No. So, I mean, if Newcastle want to waste some Saudi money and give us 50 M's, then we can talk. And then we can easily raise that and put that into some more money. But if not, then we keep Madueke and grow him and sell him for even more next year.
I mean, bro, Dominic Solanke went for £65 million.
I can't believe that. The stupidity. Oh,
that's a lot of money, man. That's 75 million euros. That's a lot of money for Solanke. Whoa. I mean, that's like saying, "Hey, man, I'm gonna bid 50 for Patrick Bamford." Like,
if there has been news, Fabrizio Romano has said this, so that is as newsy as you can get it. We're not saying it's going to happen. We're just saying hypothetically. I don't think he will go. I think it's just being conversations. As I said, this is the quote. Fabrizio Romano on his podcast. Obviously, again, you have to read it properly and get it. So it says, in case of a good proposal. So that is, even if Fabrizio is dealing in hypotheticals at the moment. which technically the statement is true. It doesn't mean that she's going to be sold. It's just saying if Newcastle put in a certain offer, Chelsea will say yes, which is just natural. It's just the way of the game. It's 90% of the players will have the same. You could make the same thing. You could say, hypothetically, if Chelsea, if someone pays £2.50 for Kepa, Chelsea could be open. Or if
that just seems like they're hedging their bets.
Yeah, it is a bit hedging, but Fabrizio is a tap-in merchant at the best.
Yeah, yeah. Although he does at times give credit, while he's also, attributing his "here we go" trademark to whatever he's doing. And by the way, it's like tagged in very tiny font. Oh yeah, this was Fabrice Hawkins that called Pedro Neto. Like very tiny print that was Fabrice Hawkins. Shout out Fabrice Hawkins for calling the Pedro Neto thing, because no one knew. Absolutely no one knew.
No. I mean, the fact that Chelsea managed to keep this quiet is brilliant. I love it. Like, this is the thing. Nowadays, in transfers, you get told by journalists what meal these players are having for the dinner.
Yeah.
You know every bloody detail, what shop they go to, what they buy at their shop before the transfer. Like, there is no information you don't know. So the fact that this whole thing just went from nothing to here we go, he's signing, is just phenomenal from Chelsea. And you don't see many clubs anymore that actually can do this. And Chelsea do it.
But George Mendes was behind it as the super agent, which we do have a good relationship with.
And that's the thing. I mean, Mendes has that power. He can keep stuff quiet. He has more. He is like Mino Raiola had that power, but he just kept running his mouth, so he wouldn't keep things quiet. He'd just talk because he loves to talk. But Mendes is like he is the godfather of agents. Really.
Yeah, without question. I think he's the most powerful agent in football.
Yeah.
And
I don't think anyone can top him.
No, I don't think either. But right now, like, there were rumblings that at the end of the deal, Man City tried to swoop in, and Chelsea just said, "No, we're not doing that. Wolves, we have a deal." And Chelsea closed it. And it was very interesting because as soon as this happened, I watched Mark Goldbridge's reaction. And I like Mark Goldbridge. Guy was a former cop, turned football pundit YouTuber, and just seems like he's having a good time. But he's like, God damn, Chelsea just did something really good here. And he said, the best thing about Chelsea is that they are very good at closing deals, whether it's a sale or a buy. They're very good at it.
Man United, for example, will take 8 weeks before it's even remotely done.
And in particular, this regime, they are like, if they want something, like the old Olise thing is almost an ego hit, because any other player, that would have been done and dusted. I mean, Olise may have just had a conversation with company that we didn't know about, and that shit does happen. I mean, look, it can't be regulated. It's as easy as company picks up the phone and says, "Hey, man, crazy thing, but Bayern Munich just hired me as their manager and I want you to come play for me." Right? So it could have been like that. I mean, he's Belgian. They speak French. He's friends with Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry is the Olympic coach for Olise. So that may have been the case. And that is a mark on an otherwise pretty flawless transfer record for this new regime at Chelsea. If they want a player, they really do go out and just get them. They don't really waste much time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. What was I going to say? I was going to say something that's completely gone out of my head. It's late. I'm starting to get a little bit.
You guys call it knackered, right? Knackered?
We can use tired. I'm tired.
What is knackered? Where did that come from?
Honestly, I don't even know.
I'm a bit knackered tonight. I mean, I just I hear this in like all these Guy Ritchie movies, right? All these phrases, binoculars, and all this other stuff. No, I'll never understand it. The slang doesn't translate from one continent to another. But what do you think? Can you remember what was up?
Well, I don't know, but I'm just going to list this comment here and let you make a decision on that because I know
I do
it's.
to a degree as well, but Enzo has more to his game, and he's a playmaker. He's more rare than Moyes. Who's Moyes? Caicedo? Oh no, Caicedo's way better. Are you serious?
I think this comment was in relation to the market going mad.
I'm not terrible about the Caicedo deal anymore because I think he's just going to be here for a really long time. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about Caicedo because Caicedo towards the end of the season was really good, and then I think he had a really good Copa, and I have no worries about Caicedo moving forward. I think he's very comfortable now. I mean, last year that was a tumultuous season, and a lot of the fans shit on him, right? I mean, they were harsh with Caicedo, but I think he feels comfortable now. So no, I'm not worried about Caicedo at all. But
we know you absolutely love Enzo Fernandez,
so I don't. And the problem is that Enzo is slow, and I'm not just talking about slow on offense. I'm talking about slow on defense. And I don't care how much weight he loses or how many more tattoos he proliferates his body with. It doesn't matter. When you're slow, you're slow. By the way, you look in shape, Matt, but I bet you're slow. Are you slow?
Oh wow, I am slow as hell.
I knew it. I knew it.
Partially because my ankles are a wreck.
Yeah. You want to know why Enzo's slow? Because he was born slow. And you can just tell.
I haven't got them fast twitch fibers, baby.
Yeah.
No matter how much I train myself, I'm a certain speed.
Oh yeah. No. By the way, nobody gets faster. All that like speed training. No, it's just to get you in better shape. Like or like incorporate your form where you're maybe 5% faster. There's no such thing as getting faster. No, you're just faster.
As long as you're in shape and you're at your potential, you're there. It's just getting you to your ceiling.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I can make you faster. Not really, bro. Not really. So, now the problem with Enzo is that I see him as a liability on both sides of the ball, and that is because with the way that we're going to transition with the ball, he won't be able to either get up fast enough or get back fast enough. I think the game that we're trying to play is going to pass him by. Like, I know that we're going to play methodical out of the back, but once we hit that one vertical ball on the ground that bypasses the midfield and hits one of our guys in a half space that is a vulnerable space between the central midfield line and the defensive line of the other team, we're off to the races. And you've seen that a lot during preseason. Once we hit that one vertical ball on the ground, that guy that receives it, he turns and we go. And I don't see Enzo being able to catch up. I think he had a great ball against Madueke, but that was because the play was stifled and it was sort of a broken play. But Enzo, for me, look, we've got a lot of midfielders, and two of them, Caicedo and Lavia, if they're fit, they're going to play. And if it's a choice between Enzo and Cole Palmer, that wasn't going to go.
Enzo and Cuckoo.
Or in Kunku. I mean, look, Enzo is an expensive player, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, very expensive. And we will leave it there for today because I have
one last question for you. I'll make it a quick hit. Carney Chukwuemeka is linked to Barcelona.
What about it?
I'm curious what you think. Because this feels like a Ruben Loftus-Cheek revitalization.
You know me so well.
I do.
No, to be fair, I would let him go, but I don't want a low ball fee from Barcelona. I do not want Barcelona to low ball us and ruin this. I want premium payment for this guy because I do believe this guy will be a great player.
I think he'll be good too, man. I think he's a good player.
So I would like to hold on to this player if possible.
The only problem with us is that we have too much of this player.
Yeah. If PSR wise was different and we were struggling, then fine. But I think we are good enough that we can hold this player. And maybe I'm more willing, if he can't get enough game time in the squad at the moment, to send him out on loan. Because I think if he goes out on loan to, say, a Dortmund or a PSV or an Ajax, he will smash it. He will, or anywhere in Italy, I think he will rip the league apart. And I think he'll come back and everyone will be looking at this guy thinking, wow, we've got Nkuku, we've got Palmer, and we've got Carney. But we'll see. He might go.
You want him to go get another football degree. You want him to go out and get his master's degree. And then
effectively, yeah. He's got his bachelor's degree, yeah. But unfortunately, he needs that extra year. He needs to do that dissertation, get that master's degree, and then he can come back much more accomplished.
By the way, it's called a thesis. I know because I'm in the process of writing one of mine.
I know.
But yeah, I think that if we were to loan him to Barcelona with an option to buy, I think that would be the best case scenario because I just think we have too many players in that position. I mean, we haven't even mentioned Amari Kellyman, Dewsbury Hall. You know, I mean, it's crowded, and the best player on our team also plays that position. So it's going to be tough, Maddie, but I will leave you with this. I know you got to go. It's only 6:35 p.m. here where I'm at, but it's late where you are. Thank you for doing this for Coachella, but I'll leave you with this. I don't believe that Chelsea is actually in on Osimhen. I just think that Chelsea wants to offload Lukaku. I think that Napoli has created this idea in their mind that it can be a tit for tat, 1-for-1 swap plus some money. I don't think that Chelsea sees this deal the same way.
I mean, I do understand Napoli's side of they can't have both players on the books at the same time.
Yeah, but man, they did this to themselves.
Yeah, the problem is they've effectively priced everyone else out of the race and now desperate. If they had PSG still interested, if they had Arsenal generally interested, and if there was Saudi interest bubbling about, then they could take advantage of this. But they can't because
it's not just that. It's not just about selling Osimhen. It's about them buying Lukaku. They have quite literally pigeonholed themselves into like this one scenario.
Yeah, and Conte is a guy that once he wants someone, he wants someone.
By the way, if he doesn't get this, I bet he walks.
Oh, he will. He will. I mean, there's already been talks of it. But yeah, it is what it is. I think we will get Osimhen eventually. It's just a game of cat and mouse, and I think we are.
If we do, I'm not going to complain about getting a good player.
We are going to eat that mouse for breakfast or for dinner, depending.
All I want is to watch Kieran Dewsbury Hall give a sweet ball to Cole Palmer and a nice baller goal. That's what I want to see. I want to see some Kieran Dewsbury Hall to Cole Palmer. That's what I want to see. Yeah,
we'll leave it at that on a positive note to what has been a wonderful stream, and actually a longer stream than I was going to do, but there was just the views keep going up and up and up. So I was staying in for a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I've got to go to bed. So unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it. We won't have a stream probably tomorrow just because I've got to do moving stuff with parents, so that comes first. But we will see. You can check out the Blue Co Project podcast.
We will be podding tomorrow.
I am gonna post my own crap on here. I've been very good to wait and not do this too often. But check us out, Blue Coat Project Podcast,
Hey.
Spotify, Apple. Late, probably about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock tomorrow. Podcast will be out, and obviously check out all our other podcasts before. They are hilarious and brilliant to watch, even if the news is outdated by then. Check them out. Check us out.
I mean,
Carlito,
especially only listen to the Blue Coat Project podcast because it's the best Chelsea podcast.
Of course, yeah. No, this is also good.
It's the best Chelsea podcast. This Chelsea Perspective. This is a YouTube show.
Yeah, combine the
podcast with Matt and Jesters. It's the best Chelsea podcast in the world. Don't listen to anybody else. Just listen to us because we tell you the truth. And guess what? We have no problem with the ramifications of the truth. We're okay with that. We're cool with just being honest with you people.
Even better, what you can do is you can listen to the best podcast on Spotify and Apple, and you can listen to the best YouTube channel. We are right here. Balance it out.
That's a little bit of cross promotion, Matthew.
Exactly.
You sure you didn't study marketing? In between all those, in between stretching out sweaty old people, you sure you didn't study a little bit of marketing?
Wow. Maybe in an alternate world, I am the marketing master.
He's really
but
bad.
We will leave it there for today because I am literally trying to keep my eyes open at the moment.
All right.
Big up to everyone. Subscribe, like, smash the subscribe button. Get us to 23K. Coach Hiller would be very happy with that. Big up to everyone, and we will see you another day on the Chelsea Perspective. See you guys.